Johnny Cat here. Today we are going to cover the optimal start walkthrough of my newest Elden Ring game guide. Following the walkthrough will get all players to level 150 in one of the fastest ways possible, get the plus 10 Mimic as fast as possible, get a plus 10 magic weapon as fast as possible, and set up all the NPC quests in the order that the devs appear to have intended. The optimal start walkthrough in its annotated maps also helps you collect all the upgrade materials in the most efficient order to ensure that your character has the most powerful weapons possible. Before you start the video, please subscribe to this channel, then download the guide, a PDF file that subscribers to my channel can download for free. The guide is growing and now includes boss fight strategies, optimal spells, best weapon and Ash of War pairings, and also provides annotated maps of all the early game areas, allowing players to traverse those areas in the most optimal way possible. Let's begin. Remember that this video is just the video summary of one of the core chapters of my new Elden Ring game guide. The guide currently has 20 chapters, and this video only covers the 18 parts of Chapter 3, which presents a step-by-step set of instructions that help players make what I strive to be the most optimal start to Elden Ring that is possible. So the first thing to do is to select a samurai class, new character, make him look any way you want, or color you want. Run into this chapel, meet the first boss, just let him whack you. It's possible to beat him, but it's a lot of effort. Some sections of the guide are called core tasks. These parts guide the player through step-by-step paths to get the maximum number of golden seeds and sacred tears to upgrade HP FP flasks, collect all the somber and regular smithing stones to get the maximum weapon upgrades possible in the quickest time, and collect important rare and difficult to find crafting material, such as Trina's lilies. In part 1, we get the Wondrous Physic flask, start key NPC quests, get the first half of the Dectus medallion, and find a shortcut to Caelid. Step 2. You'll be able to level up from 9 to 18 after following the guide for 15 minutes. Step 3. We're going to get 42,000 runes and a very important Ash of War. Now this is sort of a cheese, but this thing still works as of June 2024. And basically, you just run back and forth on this ledge while you're mounted, and this Knight's Cavalry guy will jump over your head and die. And you get 42,000 runes, which is 9 levels, but also you get this, which we're going to need, Bloodhound Step Ash of War. In part 4 of the walkthrough, we learn how to get 50,000 to 65,000 runes by bleeding Ancient Dragon Grail, but keeping him alive so that we can continue to repeat this process as many times as we like. First, equip a bleed weapon, such as the katana, the Bloodhound's Fang curved sword, or the Radahn dagger. Strike the dragon continually, watching for the bleed proc to occur. When Grail is down to 20% health or so, be sure to equip one of the gold pickled fowl feet that we acquired from following the earlier part of the walkthrough. These first 5 gold feet will give you an extra 15,000 runes each time. In the walkthrough, you do this 5 times in total, thus netting you an additional 15,000 times 5, or 75,000 runes, just for paying attention to this little detail. The key to this accomplishment is to notice the dragon's tail twitch on the last bleed proc, and immediately ride fast to the nearby grace, jump off, and save. If you are following the optimal start walkthrough, then you will be able to level up from 18 to level 44. Be sure to level up the attributes shown in the guide or in the video. These attributes were selected to ensure that you always have the correct stats for spells and weapon prerequisites as you progress through the walkthrough and level up your character. In Part 5, we get the exceptional magic Bloodhound's Fang curved sword.
you'll want to use the Bloodhound's Fang, Bloodhound's Finesse skill. Here you can see me use the skill to easily defeat the monk. When you first use this skill, you slash upwards, then do a backwards somersault, putting some distance between you and your target. You must then immediately follow up with a strong attack to perform the Bloodhound's step attack, which teleports you forward in a move that is impossible for the boss to parry or evade.
The Fang has one of the best skills of all Elden Ring weapons, and learning how to use its two-step skill will allow you to dominate much of the game. And by just following the strategy in the Elden Ring Optimal Start walkthrough, you can get this weapon to the max level of +10 in the early game. At this point in the walkthrough, you find Blaidd howling on the top of the Mistwood ruins. After you hear him howling, you must return to Merchant Kyle and get the snap gesture from him by simply mentioning Blaidd to him. Return to Mistwood, perform the snap gesture under Blaidd, and, after he jumps down to you, exhaust his dialogue. Blaidd sends you to an Everjail that is holding an enemy of his named Darriwil. Consult my Optimal Start walkthrough for details on how to best prepare for this battle. For the most part, you will let Blaidd do all the work. However, you must help him, and I found the best way to help is to equip about 30 kukri knives and toss those at Darriwil as often as you can. The kukri knives are extremely effective and will proc bleed. The blades will also stun Darriwil, giving time for Blaidd to drink a healing flask. After the battle, Blaidd will reward you with a somber smithing stone. Immediately upgrade the Fang to +2. In part 6, we'll do core tasks in the Weeping Peninsula. You'll get flasks, tears, lantern. You'll actually visit the royal capital. We'll do the same thing for step 7 in Caelid. Only in Caelid, there's a little more going on. We'll get the part 2 of the medallion we need. We'll start Millicent's quest. We'll do a bunch of other things. A lot of secrets like this to help get that +10 weapon early. One of the things we'll do is beat Commander O'Neill, and you can call this a cheese or a strategy. Just sneak up to him, he won't turn around, and use the poisonous mist. You'll get the Commander's standard halberd as well, and that gives you a good buff, and many people use it before every battle. In step 8, we return to Limgrave, and players are taught how to buff up 2 key buffs before every battle. Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow. And also, you have to do this step to get to Patches, which is also a very important NPC quest. So when you get to this point, you'll have the Bloodhound's Fang, and even though this guy is difficult and evades all the projectiles and stuff, he cannot evade the Bloodhound Fang's skill, which is just awesome, and learning how to use it will make the game so much easier, especially the early and mid game. After you defeat the invader, Murkwater Cave opens up. So go into the cave, light your lantern, run in here, and then just go to the boss door and get ready for a battle. So buff up, and then open the chest. At which point, Patches will start talking to you, and he'll come down here wanting to punish you. Now you want to hurt him, but not kill him. And if you use the Bloodhound's Fang, it's just 2 hits. Here I put it in slow-mo so you can see how the skill works. I mean, that's almost 50% right there. One more hit. Now, you're not going to kill him. It's very important not to kill him. If you do, start the game over. Literally. Get a new character. So, he's super important. Now, he's going to talk to you, exhaust his dialogue, and then return here and visit his store and buy 3 of the gold feet and 40 fan daggers. Please remember to download the free game guide and to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really need that, and that helps quite a bit. In step 9, you'll get to level up to level 57, but more important is following these attribute points. By using these attributes, you can progress through the optimal start, and your character will meet all spell and weapon requirements needed to complete the walkthrough quickly. In part 10, we bypass Stormville Castle, meet Hyetta, get half of the Helig Tree's secret medallion, get Ensha's awesome armor set, and get the hugely underrated Wraith Calling Bell, which can be used to cheese many enemies. Part 10 also presents a guide for how to use the quick draw pouch, which is a very important skill to have, especially during boss fights where every second counts. In step 11, we meet Iji and get a good talisman from him, and also get our weapon upgraded to +5, which is not an obvious thing. In step 12, we return to the Liurnia of the Lakes and finish more core tasks, including a visit to Jarburg, the Church of Vows, and the Ansel River Depths. We also get the essential Flame Cleanse Me incantation, and finally go up the Grand Lift of Dectus. Chapter 3, Part 13, presents an ideal first visit to the Altus Plateau. Following the step-by-step directions in this optimal start game guide gets you the most rewards in the shortest time and helps you complete the NPC quest in the best order. Here we take on the invader Magnus the Beastclaw and get Great Star's Great Mace, one of the best strike weapons in the game, and also finish a key step in White Mask Var's quest, which gets you to the Infinite Rune Farm as quickly as possible. We also get to experience Patch's betrayal, where he kicks you off a cliff. Rather than being a bad thing, the optimal start chapter of this game guide uses this situation to make a big shortcut, which saves you plenty of time and opens up some areas earlier than had you avoided Patch's attempted murder. Following the step-by-step directions in Chapter 3, Part 14 of this Optimal Start game guide gives directions on how to upgrade your spirit summons, in this case the Lone Wolves, as early as possible. I certainly have not found a way to upgrade the spirit summons any quicker than the directions in the guide. In Chapter 3, Part 15, the guide gives you detailed directions on how to easily beat Rennala, Queen of the Full Moon, your first Shardbearer boss. By following the guide directions, you'll have an overpowered +6 weapon and can very easily defeat this boss and not even take a hit, as is shown in the video. And you certainly do not have to be an expert at melee fighting. I, in fact, am terrible at melee fighting, yet I'm still able to easily beat the game by following this strategy. The key to winning Phase 2 of this boss fight is to close in on her quickly while sidestepping her initial laser beam spell. After you dodge that first spell and close in on her, it's just an easy smash. Chapter 3, Part 16 presents a detailed path to finish White Mask Var's quest and open up the Infinite Rune Farm as early as possible. The instructions cover all the details. First, you visit Var at the First Step Grace, which was the first grace you came to in the Lands Between. Next, you visit Inia at the Round Table Hold. Then visit Var at the Rose Church. Reload the area and speak to him again and discover that because we defeated the invader Magnus in Part 13 of this Optimal Start guide, he states that you've already completed his next task. After you accept being anointed a knight to serve Luminary Moog, the Lord of Blood, Vara gives you a final task. This task can be done one of two ways. The first way is to go to the foot of the Four Belfries Grace, collect the imbued key, and use the key on the northeast tower. You then arrive at the Chapel of Anticipation and get another chance to defeat the many-armed boss that was the first boss of the game, which promptly killed you. You can use the kukri knives for an easy win, or just go in and smash him with your +6 weapon. After easily defeating this boss, enter the church, grab the spirit summons, and the Stormhawk King. The Stormhawk King is for Nephali's quest. Then visit the Maiden and get the Lord of Blood's favor. The second way to get the Lord of Blood's favor is to get it from the Maiden in the Church of Inhibition, located in the northernmost section of Liurnia's eastern landmass. The catch is that you must defeat the invader Roundtable Knight Vaiki first in order to access the church. But defeating Vaiki is easy if you're following the guide and using the +6 Bloodhound's Fang curved sword. Finally, return to Var, let him cut off your finger, then accept his reward, the Pure Blood Knight's Medal. Equip and immediately use the medal. You will find yourself transported to the Mogwin Dynasty Mausoleum. First, grab the local area map. Ride from here and pick up all sorts of golden runes and smithing stones, being sure to avoid the laser beams that the mob will throw at you. Finally, arrive at the Palace Approach Ledge Site of Grace, aka the Infinite Rune Farm. This is the most popular rune farm. Initially, you can come here and convince a specific monstrous crow to jump off a cliff by hitting it with an arrow. This nets you 11,000 to 17,000 runes per event, depending on if you use a gold pickled foul foot and the gold scarab talisman. Remember to download the PDF guide. It's free. All you have to do is subscribe. Chapter 3, Part 17 is all about getting any magic weapon you have to the maximum plus 10 level in the early game as soon as possible. The only way to do this is to get the plus 7 Somber Smithing Stone behind this Godskin Noble boss. In this video, I am taking the Bloodhound's Fang curved sword to the maximum of plus 10. To learn how to get this plus 10 upgrade so early, just subscribe to this channel and then download the Optimal Start Game Guide, which is in PDF format. Be sure to read the guide and see the videos that show how to best use this sword's superior skill, the Bloodhound's Finesse. Then just follow the guide for details on how to get to the Godskin Noble via the Virgin Abductor in Rhea Lucaria Academy. This video starts at the building just outside the Godskin Noble. Do any buffs and enter the Temple of Ugly building. I like to smash up a bunch of the furniture to give me more room to work. When the dude gets close enough, sling a sleep pod at him. When you are sure that he is asleep, run up behind him and execute the Fang's 2-move skill. This weapon will proc bleed each time you successfully execute these 2 moves. Once he is asleep, take your time, as he will be asleep for a long while or until you hit him. This sleep and bleed cheese, as I like to call it, can be done with the katana as well, but I prefer the Fang since I like to use this weapon for much of the game. Just rinse and repeat, but be aware that he will often launch a series of jabs or other attacks before he sleeps. The Godskin Noble also often requires being hit with 2 pots to make it work. So be cautious and assume that you will have to dodge and or throw a second sleep pot every time. Check my Elden Ring Game guide for detailed instructions on how to collect enough Trina's lilies in the early game to make 76 sleep pots. This should be way more than enough to practice a few times and then defeat this boss. Please be sure to see the PDF game guide for more details. Please see my 2024 Godskin Noble Easy video walkthrough for more examples of how to easily defeat this boss. I put a link to that in the description. I tried many times and many different weapons and feel this sleep and bleed strategy with the Bloodhound's Fang to be the easiest method to defeat this boss. Using the regular katana works as well, but instead of the Fang's 2-stage skill, you hit with a heavy attack and then a riposte. Remember that the reason we are even here is to get the plus 7 Somber Smithing Stone super early so that we can get a plus 10 magic weapon in the early game, which makes the remaining early game bosses super easy to take down. Follow in the video for the route to the plus 7 Somber Smithing Stone. Once you acquire the plus 7 Smithing Stone, head over to the Mogwin Dynasty to get the only Somber Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone, which we will need to upgrade our weapon to plus 10. Use the Pure Blood Knight's Medal to transport to the Dynasty Mausoleum entrance grace. Run up the stairs and avoid the exploding dudes. At the top of the stairs, enter the dark building. Turn on your lantern and summon your lone wolves, which will be used as a distraction to help you avoid getting stopped. Your goal is to run through this darkened area, avoiding the 2 or 3 lesser sanguine nobles that will try to stop you. Run past the imprisoned merchant, but note his location here, as you will most definitely want to visit him to purchase some very rare items. Once you get through, save at the Dynasty Mausoleum Midpoint Grace. Then just run up the stairs, avoid the Elbenorics and the Sanguine Noble. loot the chest at the base of the large figure to obtain the somber ancient dragon smithing stone. While you are here, get a golden seed and a golden rune that most people likely miss. Part 18 is the final section of the optimal start to Elden Ring walkthrough. In this part, we will build the plus 10 mimic and take a route that gets us that as quickly as possible. This task requires defeating both Loretta and Radahn, but those tasks should be quite easy with the plus 10 Bloodhound's Fang magic weapon. Defeating Radahn was a nightmare when the game first came out. Presently, however, defeating him is easy if you have followed the step-by-step optimal start walkthrough of my Elden Ring game guide. Make your way to the Redmane Castle and speak to Jaren. Ride the lift down to the beach and go through the Waygate. Immediately upon your arrival, do not mount Torrent, but instead run on foot towards the summon signs on the ground. It may take some practice, but you can learn to roll forward once you see Radahn loose an arrow. Continue to roll forward when you see Radahn let loose an arrow, and once you are near the signs, summon whatever NPC is there, then be ready to roll again. After you have summoned 6 NPCs, mount Torrent and ride around until the NPCs arrive and converge on the boss. Then close in on Radahn and hit him with the kukri knives from a distance. I don't see kukri knives talked about much, but they are a devastating ranged weapon that procs bleed rapidly. As you throw kukri knives, notice the NPCs. Once there are only 2 NPCs remaining, remount Torrent and ride around until you have summoned the NPCs again. Close in on him and once again throw a bunch of kukri knives at him. Radahn will likely be at 50% health at this time. If not, do another similar run of summoning NPCs and throwing kukri knives. Once the boss hits 50% health, he jumps up into the air and vanishes into the sky. Ride around fast and keep your eyes on the sky. You will see what appears to be a flaming meteorite hurtling towards you. If you are not paying attention, he will land on you and one-shot you. I am positive that the game has programmed this, so you must pay attention to his return and then simply ride out of the way. Once he lands, just close in on him, and this time go all the way in and engage him with the plus 10 Bloodhound's Fang curved sword. You only have to hit him once or twice more to get him down to less than 10%. Finish him with the sword, or take the less risky path of just stepping back a bit and finishing him off with those devastating kukri knives. The next thing we need to do is to get through Carrion Manor and defeat Loretta. In the video, you can see that I do this easily and without using any summons. It is important to remember that when you fight a boss with summons, the boss's health is greater than if you engage the boss without having a summons aid you. Once Loretta is defeated, collect her useful Loretta's Great Bow spell. Then visit Ranni in Ranni's Rise. Agree to serve her. Then go to Fort Height West Site of Grace and notice all the giant rocks suspended in the sky. You must ride to the giant hole or crater under those rocks. Follow the video to see the route, and remember to download my Elden Ring game guide to see the annotated maps and other details. Follow the path to Nokron, Eternal City. Parkour around and be careful to not fall off anything. Get the Ghost Glovework Picker's Bell Bearing, which lets you purchase levels 1, 2, and 3. Make your way down to the boss door. Before entering, strip completely naked. That's right, completely naked. No clothes, no armor, no weapons, no flasks, nothing. Then enter the boss area. Summon your lone wolves if you like, and then make your way to the center of the arena, which triggers a mimic tier to form here in a manner which duplicates your character in every way. Hence the need to go in with absolutely nothing equipped. As the mimic materializes, just calmly put everything else back on. Once you are back to yourself, go in and dispatch that mimic tier. Get the silver tier mask, which is a great piece of armor that I wear often as it raises your arcane by +8. Note that the helm also lowers your physical attack power by 5%. Ride to the Ancestral Woods Grace. Then jump into the Nokron Eternal City. Follow the video to the Mimic Tier Ash location. There are many things to do and items to get while you are here, and all these are spelled out in my game guide, so be sure to get that if you have not downloaded it already.
There is a perfumer guarding the chest that holds the mimic to your ash, but you can one-shot him with the Bloodhound's Fang skill. Exit the building and tag the Knight's Sacred Ground Grace. Run down the block and enter the building. Get the Finger Slayer Blade and Great Ghost Glove worked. Now go and complete Preceptor Saluvis's quest line before visiting Ranni, which is very important to do this before. Saluvis's quests are easy, it just involves running around collecting stuff. See my Elden Ring Game guide for the annotated maps and step-by-step instructions for how to complete his tasks. Once you've completed all his tasks, he will reward you with the Magic Scorpion Charm, which is a highly valued talisman. Finally, you must visit Ranni again, thus unlocking Renna's Rise Tower. A note of caution, if you visit Ranni with the Finger Slayer Blade in your possession, the game will automatically give it to Ranni, which kills Saluvis. So be sure to have completed his quest and gotten the Magic Scorpion Charm before visiting Ranni again. Ascend the tower and take the waygate to Noxtrella. Get the Ghost Glovework Picker's Bell Bearing 2, which lets you purchase levels 4, 5, and 6. Collect the Ghost Gloveworks 7, 8, and 9. Follow the video for these locations. And again, even better, just subscribe to my channel and download the game guide and follow the step-by-step walkthrough. When you are down here, you could just run through the area and pick up the Ghost Glovewort 7 and 8, but I would encourage you to explore this area and collect the many high-value items located here. Chapter 3 of my Elden Ring Game Guide provides more detailed instructions as well as annotated maps that help you traverse every area without getting lost and find all the good loot. When you are ready, just come over to this building and ride the elevator down. Exit and save at the Grace. Then immediately turn around and go pick up the Ghost Glovewort plus 9. Finally, complete the upgrade of the Mimic to plus 10 with Roderica at the Round Table Hold.
What are you waiting for? A kiss goodbye?